science up. You know, you study what the white man is up to. And this is called sciencing up. That's back in the early 60s. Anyway, so that's what I was doing. I was sciencing up and stuff, and, you know. And they called me. It was Muhammad Al-Assi and Masood Chajari, Islamic, whatever they call it, human rights over in London, and praying out in the street. They said, no, it's an area. We're in Tahrir Square now. I said, I don't care where you are. It ain't no Arab Spring. You can ask them. I said, no, it's a revolution. I said, it ain't no revolution going on in Egypt. That ain't happening. That's what I told them. You can check with them. That they called me on the phone and try to con me into thinking. For what reason? I don't know. I don't care. But I told them it ain't happening. Because somebody turned the heat off just a minute. Anyway, this is what we told them. In a long story short, that in the long run, that'll pass by. It'll be certain unity of opposition, and it means it'll be, instead of it being a national approach, it's going to be a regional approach. And right now, everything is regional. It's Yemen, right? It's a strategic alliance, right? It's a strategic alliance. The white man ain't got nobody on their board that's come up with nothing like that at that time, right? So Syria, Iran, Iraq, and Soviet Union. But those three Arab countries and the fourth, Yemen, that's a strategic alliance. And it's a regional approach. No one, everybody's talking region now. Like as soon as we say something, you may think I'm joking. You can go to the newspaper the next day and they all saying that. Yeah, none of them said it before. You ever seen anything like that on the TV and anything? Ain't nobody talking about Najaf and Karbala and what it means. We was telling them what it means. This is some knowledge of the inner workings of things. It's true. Okay, now right now, we can't, this is a serious time, so we can't pretend because of modesty that hasn't been happening. You know, and then Allah set the opportunity there, then you have to step out and get busy. You know, it's right now. When Yusuf alayhi salam says, set me over the storehouses, because I know their value. Okay, America got a lot of stuff going on, and they're bumbling idiots. And they've been bumbling idiots. They haven't hit no ball out of the park since World War II. It's just pitiful. It's not only Vietnam. They got knocked out in Korea, but nobody remembers it was Korea, 1951. You know what I mean? They still got a war going on. In 53, they just signed in Panmunjom, they signed a ceasefire. Technically, North Korea and the U.S. is still at war. Technically, they are still at war today. They are at war right now. Okay. All of that's okay. Here's where we are. We've been dealing with Boss Man for a long time. He's been playing with us, and technically, we've been playing with him. Technically, we've been testing the system for a long time. Long time. For a test to be reliable, it has to be repeatable. Okay, now, wonder why, we'll just go backwards. You go outside right now, you'll see a dump truck, whatever that thing is, a tow truck. You see cars parked all out there, and you see it looks bad. If you went into the house, well, we was in the house, fixing it up, painting it, it already starts to look better. We get a little carpet in there and paint up a little more. Okay, now, to other people, they would say, well, how many times has that happened? We would say many times. Many. Well, it has. It's happened over on 8th Street. It happened everywhere we have property. The same thing. Then why we run the test the same thing? Because for it to be reliable, it has to be repeatable. Why don't you go get some for your cars? Why don't you go get another mechanic? Why don't you? It has to be the same mechanic. But he tears up your cars when he wants, and he lets them run when he wants. That's right. If we got another mechanic, the test, right, would have a different variable. One variable is different. So the test wouldn't be reliable and provable unless you did that same test with different variables over and over and over again, which we do. Why? How many times has that happened in that apartment and in the house next door? Many times. That's why you can plan ahead based on the reliability of the test. When Abdul Jalil was there, he left the house in the middle of the night and shotgun blast all over the house, the thing. So we remodeled it. We remodeled it then we remodeled it later, but how did we remodel it? We've taken all the carpet out now, but we didn't take it out last. We washed the carpet. Why? Because we had one more test. Why did we know? Somebody in my house said the lady that's married to so-and-so, they thinking about renting the house. That's good. Well, it's nice, it's fixed up nice, it's painted everything, but we're not gonna put no new carpet in there. Not then. Why? Because the reliability of the past test. It always happens that they're gonna leave. And when they leave, they're gonna leave it effed up, which they did. That's the test. It's not only that, what about 8th Street? Remember, they leave it, it's not the first time. All the people do all the same things under whatever the conditions are. They always leave. They always mess it up. It was so messed up, you got sick, and you're about probably the healthiest one out of all of us. The thing just, it was filthy in there, right? It was unbelievably, of course, technically. You said you might have seen something like that when you was a firefighter, but you can imagine, I'm a common citizen. I had never seen nothing like it. Big pots of urine, pots. Come here. Why would you be pot? Even in the old days, excuse the expression, a pot to piss in or window to throw it out. At least if you urinate in the pot, throw it outside in the morning. Yeah, just go outside and throw it out in the grass and anything. But don't just leave it there. Can you imagine the smell accumulating? And you urinate on clothes, and the clothes picks up the urine smell. We had to take everything out of there, and then we had to saturate the floor and everything with bleach. Yeah, that's why cleaned on up. Bleach take care of anything. But we soak the bleach into the wood almost. So, but the test is the same one. Why? Because it's reliable. They're going to leave and they're going to owe money. Around now, I don't know, it was $4,000, $6,000, something. Whatever they left, we technically couldn't afford it. But they left it so bad that the police, they come right by, now they done told them to do it, and they condemned it. They condemned it. You know, they boarded it up and charged us for the boarding, although we cleaned it up. And the people, okay, that's no problem. We're not crying about that. Why? Because it's all predictable. That's what a test, they've been testing us. The same test that Yusuf went through, we went through it. We haven't been at nothing, the white man, sit around here, they read your file and they said, this nigga likes yellow girls. They done had all kind of yellow wavy-headed women. Even people have their family, almost still teenagers coming back because they're yellow and they're pretty. And when you come in, you smile, that's a pretty girl there. That's a pretty girl, but I don't have nothing to do with her. Just pretty, right? Niggas are not like that in America. If they see somebody they like, they got a scheme right away. I'm sorry, I'm not like that. Why? Because messing with somebody make you almost a pedophile. They're so young. Can you imagine Negroes here having their people using their daughters as bait for the white man? Yes, they do. I mean, they really be using them. You wouldn't believe the stuff they use. When they get at a certain age, they have, I go out and work out all the time. They'll have one of them leave a little mini pad with a little blood on it to show that, okay, I menstruate now. Ain't nobody gonna see it but me. Just to make sure that I know that it's all right to do whatever. We done passed every test. Boss man done struck out for 40-something years with us. Can you imagine? You can't imagine. The fitna, the foolishness that boss man done tried with me. But he ought to be able to read the newspaper, the Muslim news. It ain't no Negro in the United States, Imam or nobody else, has got 15 years of celibacy. At the height of when you're juiced up in your 40s and running late 30s and 40s into your 50s, those are some of the juiced up years of your life, especially if you're running marathons, and you lift an iron, and you working, your work is more important. When we was in Oakland, we was at a family night. The people would pretend that the Imam was there lonely, so we're just gonna stay late and late. I used to flip the lights, click, click. Y'all gotta go, man. So I could go to sleep. I'm not lonely. Y'all is crazy. And the way y'all married life, I don't want none of that. But whatever, if y'all calling that happy life, I say it's happy. I go in and guess what? By the time my head hits the pillow, I'm asleep. Not y'all up arguing about money, or the kids tripped in the water, anything stupid, right? I ain't got none of that. Focusing on movement. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think, from our research, I don't think the people they got out front, whether it's Noah yelling them, whether it's the Imam in Brooklyn, whether it's the mush-mouth Imam in New York, whether it's all, I don't think they're worth a dime. I'm sorry, sure they're Muslim. But the way they operate, something is wrong with them. Something is wrong with them. We have flyers right here from 86, 85, 84, 85, 86 about drug program, right? In 88, 89, they have drug busters in New York. They ain't busting no drugs. And I tell them, you ain't going to stop no drugs. They don't stop no drugs. But they figured if that's the flyer you're having, they want to undercut it. The whole thing here in America has been aimed at one guy. I'm sorry. Maybe you see it different. I don't see it different. It's been aimed at me. The whole thing. And everybody is in on it. All the Masjid. How is that possible? That all the Masjid, all the Negroes, and they're all giving big talks, and they're not standing up for, they're helping those people who are afraid of the white man. They're afraid of the Americans. All the immigrants are afraid of the Americans. They won't even eat, no matter what happens. You can't get a peep out of none of them people. But we're yet Muslims, and the Quran and the Hadith give you certain guidelines. Right? Maybe they follow them, maybe they don't. But in the case of Imam Jamil, if your brother da-da-da-da, and it's not just Imam Jamil, their own crew. When they get in hot water, they leave them. They just run off and leave them. And we tell them, that's going to get you more trouble. They thought we was exaggerating. I said, when a person get arrested, go to jail, I said, go buy their family a Benz and a new house. And they arrest somebody else, do the same for them. But if you have their wives driving up to them, or sitting like a dog hitcher sitting in there with cookies on the thing, trying to raise funds for their husband, right? And the car is smoking going down the street. Any imam or leader open his mouth, their wife gonna tell him, hey, you see what's happening to her, you want that to happen to us? And we told them 15, 20 years ago, we told them, you want to solve boss man, you want to get him out of your house, everybody get arrested, go buy him a house, 5 bedrooms. You can afford it. And a new Benz. Don't have to be brand new, but it don't break down, it runs good. With a sunroof, so the kids will be reaching up out of the top. And the other wives will say, look at them. Why don't you speak up? Yeah, they be trying to, they said, if we get rid of you, we're going to be living like that, right? So we'll get you off into the jail, penitentiary. And we don't live like that now, but if you go to the pen, it's not that people think like that, but it's possible. We told them, you want to keep the police from arresting y'all? Do that. They didn't believe it. You know why? They don't think we have no sense. That's the rule. We learned that from a long time ago. Run off and leave the people, and the government will come up on you over and over again. Use them as a rallying point. That's what happened with Imam Jamil. The brother said, of course I know he didn't say this, but he said that if such and such a thing happened, he's going to do such and such and such and such. And they said that we told him that basically, of course they have bayah. That means if they mess with their leader, well, that is insanity. That you have bayah to the leader and the government can do anything they want to the leader, and you tell the leader if you do anything about it, we ain't gonna get out and raise funds. And you notice they didn't. They didn't. We did. We had to force them down here at two, three fundraisers. We had to force them here. They came, we had the programs. They wouldn't do it. They said this is gonna cause trouble for the community. If they do that to you, you use that as a benefit to rally all the people. Yeah, you use it as a rally point. Every time they look at you, you're not decreasing in numbers, you're increasing in numbers. They didn't look at it like that. Then the government kept cracking down on us. Pretty soon, we almost starving to death ourselves. But we did squeeze a good 300,000 out the first years. Yeah, sure we did. Okay. They don't think nothing about us. And the Negroes help the foreigners with all their projects. And guess what? The Negroes don't know nothing about us. That's what they act like. Can you imagine? They don't know nothing about us. That's what they say. They don't ever come by, they don't ever call. Can you imagine? You don't never get a call from none of them. And you go down to, what's his name, Care or anybody else, and then the man you've been calling, the Meeks man down there with the Muslim, whatever it is in Dallas, I might stop by there and when I go back to California. But I ain't going back to California in a hurry. I'll tell you why. California done fixed up these cases so I could win them just like that. All of them. It's just obvious. I could win any of them. I could win all of them. They laid it out. They done arrested me in the Masjid and I have the deed that has my name on it. You don't have nothing. Can you imagine? You don't have nothing. The last time I was in court, I said, can they produce something that says that anything? The case that I won, the lawyer said that they have a self-generated, a computer-generated thing that they signed. They signed it. Mukhtar Khadija signed it. And they, what? They're going to put me out of the center? How? How?